Hi, friends. I'm Scott Giles, minister and hypnotist, and welcome to Power Talk, my video blog where I cover topics that interest me, focusing on how you can use the power of your mind to take control of your life. If you want to know more about my professional work or sign up for my free e-newsletter, Power Lines, check out my website, which I'll tag in the description. Well, today I want to talk about an idea that has always been very important to me. The idea that small is beautiful. The first formal formulation of this I encountered was as a freshman in college. There was a book by a German economist, E.F. Schumacher, published in 1973, titled Small is Beautiful, Economics as If People Mattered. It was all the rage on campus, and the ideas have gradually become absorbed into more advanced economic thinking. Schumacher speaks about the importance of advancing what he calls appropriate technologies, rather than just trying to import Western technology and worldviews everywhere, or always doing things in the biggest, most powerful way. Supplying the members of a tribal culture with t-shirts and jeans is a really bad idea unless you're also going to teach them about doing laundry, sewing, mending, altering, and so on. Otherwise, you take a group of people who are dressed appropriately and sustainably for their environment and transform them into dirty people in soiled-torn rags. And believe it or not, there were a whole pile of anthropologists who made exactly this mistake back in the 1960s and 70s. When trying to help rural people off the grid, say in India, perhaps you're better off giving them generators that can be pedaled like a bicycle and charge a battery, rather than handing them a lithium battery they have no way to recharge. You get the idea. The central idea is that bigger isn't always better, and when making changes in how you do things or adjustments to your lifestyle, you should think these things through. Here's a humorous example. I come from a family where the marker of success was to drive a big car. Now, I don't like big cars. I like small frame European cars. I'm a fan of Mini Coopers. I admit, however, that, and it's a stain on my soul, that whenever I would visit my distant relatives in Florida, I would always go and rent the biggest sled of a car I could find, because seeing me in one of those upset them, because they always said I would be a failure. Well, the fact is, I watched a lot of my male relatives practically bankrupt themselves buying these great big gas-guzzling cars that they really couldn't afford or couldn't afford to properly insure. They didn't think through what they actually needed. They just assumed that, well, bigger would be better, but it isn't. I advocate for an artisanal lifestyle. I love handmade things by artists, and I have such things around me whenever possible. Much of my jewelry is handmade. What I love about such things is that someone learned and perfected a craft to be able to make that. And there's a humanity and an artistry and an energy in that creation. You don't get that out of something stamped out of a sheet of sheet metal. Well, maybe that's why I enjoyed being a chef. It's hard work, long hours in volcanic heat, but you produce something special on that plate that you hope will wow people. There's an artistry to that. It's also why I essentially hate contemporary mass market dining, where everything comes in canned or frozen from a central commissary, and all the culinary crew is really doing is just heating it up. They're not chefs or even cooks in the way that I would recognize them at all. Poached eggs come in a tube, hollandaise sauce in a can. Yuck. Smaller is better. A hollandaise sauce made by a chef with a whisk, a double boiler, and skill is light years better than stuff out of a can. Artisanal is better, smaller is better, big, mass-produced, not always so good. I was delighted the other day to watch a video about a pizza joint called Edge Pizza in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Despite the fact it's New England, they make what is called a Detroit pizza, which is a thick square crust cut in squares. It's baked with just the crust, toppings, and cheese, and then the sauce is added at the end after it comes out of the oven. What captured my attention is that the owner of this little place clearly put quality first. Everything is artisanal. And all he makes is pizza, about 150 a day. There are no fries, garlic bread, chicken wings, and so on, because he realized that if he divided his attention to add those other products, the quality of his pizza would decline. If he added staff to make those other things, he'd have to supervise them, and he'd have less time and attention to give to his pizza, and the quality would decline. And I'm talking about the importance of quality over quantity here. In fact, if you watch really high-end chefs, you will not see, dozens of ingredients. They all favor the artisanal presentation of simple, high-quality ingredients. And I've eaten in some of the best restaurants in the United States, and without exception, they are unpretentious, and everything is exceptional quality. I once watched Chef Gordon Ramsay, who is my current culinary crush, make a broccoli soup. He challenged another far less skillful chef to do the same. The other chef came up with this 12-ingredient soup that only distantly reminded one of broccoli. Ramsay's award-winning recipe consisted of broccoli, water, and salt. That's it, and skill. Small is beautiful, simpler is better. I just learned about a Turkish chef in Los Angeles who runs a small 16-seat micro restaurant. He makes everything himself, hand delivers the plates to the table. Nothing goes out that isn't perfect. Smaller can be better. People who have eaten in this restaurant describe it as some of the best food they have ever had. Small is good. Complexity usually results in a decline in quality. Now, when I was a chef, I worked my way up to sous chef, which is second in command of a kitchen, and that's when the money starts getting good. But I wasn't cooking anymore. I was supervising cooks. I had little time behind the range myself, and the quality of my cooking declined. Then I felt my call to ministry. I went to school and trained. I had a 13-year career as a parish minister, 3 years in a small rural church, and then 10 at a much larger one, Frank Lloyd Wright's Unity Temple at Oak Park, Illinois, a national landmark and a World Heritage Site. At the end of the 10 years there, I was no longer doing ministry. I was supervising people who did the ministry. I didn't like that, and my skills were declining. It happened because I mistakenly believed that bigger was better. I deprived myself of the very things I most enjoyed about my work, the artisanal creation of practicing my craft. When I decided to enter community ministry to work as a hypnotist, I made myself the promise it would not happen again. The business model I use for my hypnotism practice is called an ideal micro-practice. It was created for primary care physicians who wanted to keep overhead low so their services would be affordable. They created an online organization called Dartmouth Clinical Microsystems to figure out how best to do it, but the core ideas are the one I mentioned. Artisanal. You work with your clients or patients, not someone you hire or supervise. You keep your administrative load down by using simple record-keeping systems. And I can say from personal experience, you end up with a very satisfying way to earn a living. Small is beautiful. Simpler is better. Hey, thank you for your time and attention today. I'll be back next week with another talk on a different subject. I'd like to invite you to join me. If you like my videos, please tell others, share, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. If you're wondering if I can be of help to you, feel free to reach out through my website for a free, no-obligation screening call, and we'll talk about it. Have a great week.